everyone, so today I'm going to be telling you about all of the ebooks that I have bought in the past few, I want to say weeks, but it's probably over a month now. There's quite a few of them, so I'm just going to jump straight in and tell you all about them, starting with the YA. So this YA book is something that I have wanted for a really long time, since I first saw it way back when, and that is Trouble by Non Pratt. I love the cover for this book. It has little sperms on it and the O is an egg. It's got little sperms on it. So this is about two young people, Hannah and Aaron. Hannah is pregnant, and in an unusual turn of events, Aaron, the new kid in school, offers to pretend to be the father of the baby. This is kind of unbelievable, and even more unbelievably than that, Hannah says yes and agrees to it. I believe this is told in flipping perspectives between Hannah and Aaron, and it is about these two teenagers helping each other move forward in the wake of tragedy. I have been hearing great things about this book for so long, and I am really excited to get to it soon. Next I have What's a Girl Gotta Do, the third book in the Spinster series by Holly Bourne. I have been so hyped for the release of this book for so long. If you somehow don't know about the Spinster trilogy, this is about a group of teenage girls who have a spinster club where they basically meet up and talk about feminist issues. The feminism in these books have been kind of built upon each book, so that's why I was really looking forward to the third book. It also follows the girl that I related to the most, Lottie. And in this edition of the Spinster series, Lottie has decided to call out every instance of sexism that she sees. Every single one. I'm hoping that this one is slightly more intersectional than the other books have been. I know Holly Bourne acknowledges that she is writing from a very privileged position, especially being a white woman. I'm hoping learning about privilege and intersectionality is something that will be dealt with in this book, so fingers crossed. Next I have All of the Above by Juno Dawson, and this kind of sounds like the typical YA book. Victoria Bland arrives at a new school and she is very worried and anxious about fitting in and working out who her friends are going to be. And things start looking up when she meets the funny and foul-mouthed Polly. Polly is possibly the coolest girl that Toria has ever known, and Polly and her friends take Toria under their wing. Then she meets the irresistible Nico, who is the lead singer in a local band, and apparently it is insta-love at first sight. Sometimes we just need a little bit of YA to break up all the difficult reading. Next I have Leslie Walton's The Strange and Beautiful Sorrows of Ava Lavender. I don't really know much about this book other than it is about a girl named Ava Lavender who was born with wings. Being born with wings is a bit of a struggle for Ava, and she struggles to fit in. I don't really know much other than that, but by the sounds of it, it is something that has really beautiful prose, and that is something that I'm learning to appreciate more and more. Segueing nicely from wings, I have All the Birds in the Sky by Charlie Jane Anders, about two childhood friends, Patricia, who was a witch, and Lawrence, who is a mad scientist. Guys parted ways under mysterious circumstances in school, but it turns out they are living very nearby in San Francisco as adults. Something is determined to bring these two back together, whether it is to save the world or end it. Sounds kind of magical realism, dystopian, apocalyptic kind of thing. By the way, have you noticed the number of beautiful covers of the books that I'm telling you about? It is so sad when you get an ebook and the cover is beautiful, because it's just like, I want you on my shelf. Next I have Julia Claiborne Johnson's Be Frank With Me, another beautiful cover. So Mimi Banning is a reclusive literary legend, and for the first time in decades she is writing again. And to ensure that she gets her book written in time, the publishers decide to send her an assistant. That assistant is Alice, and Alice's main role is to take care of Mimi's son, Frank. Frank is a very eccentric 9-year-old. Has the wit of Noel Coward and the style of a 1930s movie star. It sounds like such an interesting dynamic to be going on in one house, so I'm really looking forward to getting to this book and seeing exactly what it's all about. Next I have Stum by Jem Lester, and this is a book that I've been really intrigued by for quite a while. Ben Jewell has hit breaking point. 10-year-old son Jonah has severe autism, and he and his wife Emma are really struggling to cope with that. In order to strengthen Jonah's case in an upcoming tribunal, Emma and Ben decide to fake a separation. Because of this, Ben and Jonah move in with Ben's elderly father, George, and in this small North London house, 3 generations of the men of a family are living together. As I've said many times, parent-child relationships are something that I'm really interested in literature, and I've always enjoyed books like The Curious Instinct of the Dog in the Nighttime, where you get to have a perspective on something like autism which you wouldn't otherwise be able to have. Let's pretend the frame and lighting didn't just change. Next I have Leaving Berlin by Joseph Cannon, and this is set 4 years after the end of the Second World War. This is about a young Jewish writer named Alex who escaped from the Nazis and fled to America before the start of the war. The politics of his youth has got him caught in the crosshairs of the McCarthy witch hunts. Faced with deportation and the loss of his family, he begins to bargain with the CIA. He will earn his way back to America by acting as an agent in his native Berlin. I'm really interested in historical fiction set in and around the Second World War, and it's been quite a while since I delved into literature from that time period. So I'm really looking forward to giving this one a go and seeing if I enjoy it as much as I've enjoyed other literature from that period. Next I have The Vegetarian by Kang. This is set in Korea and it is about a young woman who decides she's going to become a vegetarian. This is totally shocking in this culture. Becoming a vegetarian isn't a thing that people do. They have a very meat-based diet in this part of the world, and this basically follows what happens to her because of that decision. It is a thoroughly beautiful book, and if you want to hear more of my thoughts on it, I did talk about it in my BookTube-a-thon wrap-up, which I will link down below. Next I have a very short non-fiction book, and that is Men Explain Things to Me by Rebecca Solnit. This is a collection of feminist essays covering a range of different topics. I've become a lot more of a critical thinker when it comes to feminist non-fiction, and I have heard some mixed feelings about this one, so I'm really looking forward to giving it a go soon and seeing what I make of it. Next I have a couple books from the Man Booker long list of 2016. As you may know, I'm trying to read as many books as I can from the long list. I'm kind of going out of my way to buy them because they can be quite expensive, but when I get the chance to review them or maybe get a cheaper copy, I'm pouncing on that. I have The North Water by Ian McGuire. This is set on a 19th century whaling ship which is bound for the Arctic, and there is a killer on board. I think it's predominantly about two men, the first of which is Henry Drax. He's a harpooner and a Yorkshire whaler. Also on board is Patrick Sumner, an ex-army surgeon with a shattered reputation. I don't know much more about the book other than that, although I'm guessing things don't quite go to plan. And finally I have His Bloody Project by Graham McCrae Burnett. In 1869, a brutal triple murder takes place in a northwestern crofting community. This leads to the arrest of a young man named Roderick McCrae, who is definitely guilty. The only problem is the police only know who one of the victims is. They need to discover who the other two victims are, and Roderick's fate hangs on this one key question. Is he insane? This is a topic that I've never really read that much about before, so I'm really interested, and as with all of the other Man Booker books that I've spoken about recently, reading them will really push me out of my comfort zone, and that's really what I want from them. Here are all the ebooks that I bought recently. Do be sure to let me know what you thought of them. Are there any of them that I need to read super soon? Hopefully I am back on track with filming and uploading videos on the correct days, so I shall see you guys in a few days.